Now, you get to take part in a definitely an action-packed sequence of the film. Even though you're on set, like, you know that there's people monitoring this, you know that there's safety protocols in place. Like, does your brain forget that in the moment? Like, was there a specific stunt or scene that you forgot, like, you're not actually in peril?
100%. I think when you're looking at someone, even though in your brain, you know, like, they're fine, they're safe. When you see someone who's actually on fire, like, everything goes out the window and you're like, fear, scared, scream, run. So anytime they were practically putting people on fire, there was no acting involved.
And I'm glad you specified that they were putting the people on fire. That it wasn't just a mishap in the kitchen that someone ran by you. You have the distinction in the franchise of chronologically being the first person to have a premonition. Did you find out, did the filmmakers tell you why you got to be the first character to have a premonition, or did you get to think on your own of what was so special about Iris that she got that very first premonition?
No, we haven't spoken about it, so it was kind of up to my own imagination when we were filming. But not, a couple people have asked me that, and I'm like, Adam, Zach, why? I'm curious as well.
You know, it's about time they provide some answers.
That's what I'm saying.
Kaitlyn, I wonder what the experience was like for you, that you are really the only character that has to be stressed out the entire time. Like, other people get moments of levity, so what was that for you to just, like, constantly have to be dour and stressed out?
Well, it's so funny because, I noticed that.
Dour.
I was like, dour. I know, she's so mad all the time. But what was interesting is between takes, we would just immediately be laughing and, like, chumming it up on the side. Yeah. So I still had a blast. And it was great. So,
But she had all the heavy lifting to do. There's no doubt. I mean, you have to guide the audience and guide your family and get them to listen and pay attention. So it's a really hard job.
It was hard, but, like, everybody in the crew, everybody on the set just made it so easy. Yeah. It was so easy to work with you guys. No complaints on my end.
I had a hard time working with kids.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I could tell. I was picking up on that. I just didn't want to say it. Teo, what sort of advice did you get from Devon Sawa about joining the Final Destination franchise?
He told me. First of all, he was so excited. He was so excited for me. He was the first person I told. I literally, the second I booked the job, I texted him. I was like, "Guess what?" And he was so stoked. And we got dinner with him a couple weeks later, and he was just telling me I was in for a ride, a crazy ride, and that was true. And it's only just begun. So I'm excited.
Well, and Raya, with your characters, she's in such an interesting position. I wondered if, like, you thought her character was almost somewhat envious of the fact that, like, her mom and her daughter could see these visions a little bit more clearly than she could as a person.
I never thought of it that way.
Oh yeah, that's interesting.
That's interesting. Wow, envious. No, I actually don't think so. I think that the trauma that Darlene grew up with a mother who became so super focused only on death and obsessed with it, and the ruined childhood, I think the desire to, I think if anything, there is terror and fear that my daughter is actually closer to my mother, and that is, I think, one thing that she never hoped for, wanted, would wish on anybody. So to see that come full circle, but I also think it made it really clear. I think Darlene understood that this is real. Like, because it was real for her mother, and now it's real for her daughter, so clearly this is a real thing. This is not my mom's just, crazy, and so is my daughter, because I know you're not.
Well, for Richard and for Anna, you both play characters that are maybe a little rough around the edges,
You think?
but incredibly endearing. How do you find that sweet spot of playing these more, maybe antagonistic characters without being outright obnoxious?
They don't know. They come to the
I'm not thinking about not being obnoxious.
Okay.
So any non-obnoxiousness is just happenstance, I think, because of. But I think I find motivated ways to be obnoxious, right? Like, I think I'm protective of my brothers.
Yeah, same.
The relationship's really specific. I'm very loyal to them, and I think Stephanie is talking crazy to me. You know what I mean? She's bringing all this stuff about death, and I just don't. I'm rolling my eyes at the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I never intended him to be antagonistic. I just think that's my face.
See, I think it's kind of the opposite. I'm being as antagonistic as I possibly can be.
Yeah. If I don't smile, watch this.
Ugh. Oh my gosh.
Can we cut?
Pretty bad, right?
Very antagonizing.
Pretty rough around the edge.
And now, this franchise doesn't have a lot of repeat directors. So for you, was this like, okay, now we have 400 more ideas? Or was this like, great, scratch that off the list, and now maybe another filmmaker will get to play in this sandbox?
We left every single idea we had on the field on this one. It's really challenging because we didn't want to repeat anything that had been done in a previous Final Destination movie. So that takes off a huge amount of things off the list.
Unless we were repeating them on purpose.
That's
to
right.
Trick you.
There's a few intentional repeats from that perspective. But all the key deaths have all new stuff, and it's incredibly difficult to come up with cool, amazing, little surprising details that are relatable, that are terrifying, that haven't already been done by all the amazing people that have made Final Destination movies in the past. I can't imagine how they're going to make another one because we've scoured every idea that we could think of, and God bless to whoever has to do
Death's
that.
work is never done.
The very origins of the whole franchise are rooted in the X-Files and that, the TV nature of things, and it expanded. Is there still a chance that it could expand back into the TV space, or do you think the theatrical experience is where this needs to be?
If you've seen the movie, you know as well as everybody that this is a movie that needs to be seen in a theater. This in the biggest theater possible, and hopefully in IMAX, because it is such a huge palette that we have created to see this movie and to have that shared communal experience for the laughs and the cringe and the shocks and all of that stuff just makes for a fun time at the movie. So until that experience is no longer an option, I think that we're going to stick with the theatrical experience because it's the best place to experience Final Destination.
And the scene with Tony Todd, with Bloodworth, is very powerful, takes on a whole new meaning now. Was the idea originally that this would almost be sort of like a send-off to the character?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. We did tailor it a little bit as we were going into it because we realized just that things were happening, that there was a lot of weight in the room, both from Tony, but Tony was great. He was happy to be there, and the opportunity came to allow him to sort of improv the lines on the way out and really speak to the fans from the heart, and that authenticity, I think, shows up in the performance and I think in how it's received because it is so poignant. We all knew that this was going to be most likely Tony's last movie, and we wanted to make the experience special for him, and I think he made the performance special for his fans.